Friends, welcome back to the October Mega Marathon. Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast. I'm your host, Griffey, here with a brief introduction before today's amazing episode. People, we do a mountain of work to bring you 31 brand new horror movie podcasts this month. The best way to support the show, show some love for the show, right? The only way to get all 31 episodes. Make sure you go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. There is no better way to give us a treat this season of The Trick than to go to patreon.com/filmalchemistpod. Not only will you get the 3 exclusive episodes, which this month are Kill List, Bordello of Blood, and a feature-length commentary on the Japanese haunted house classic House. Please go over there. Support the show. It means the world to us. It helps us grow. It helps us find new audience, community build, all of the important things for podcast our size. So especially this month, it means the world. If you could find it in your heart to go donate over there. Any little bit helps, I assure you. You can email the show at filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. We're on all the socials you're on, including TikTok, Instagram. We've got reels and shorter content stuff we make just for there now. So if you want to find us over there, that would be great. Make sure you're leaving 5-star ratings and reviews everywhere you find the show. That's another free and easy way to help shows like us. Also, guys, just like with the TikToks, with the Instagram, with this show itself, directly message your friends, right? Grassroots style. Just let people know, your horror movie loving friends, that we're out here doing this this whole month. And that's a great way to help us out as well. We appreciate that. You can see my video work over on Looper, right? Where you can see me from the belly button up, chatting movies. Also, make sure you join the Misfit Parade. So misfitparade.com, that is where I put my movies that we're making. We have some movies out on the festival circuit now. We've started filming the first segment of our horror anthology, Mr. Cream Jeans Hidey Hole. And if you want to follow us on that journey and join the parade, that would mean the world to us as well. You ain't here for business. You're here for another amazing horror movie episode. And today's episode, I don't think will disappoint. We are joined by our dear friend, Josh Lobo. One of the best things that's ever happened to us on this show. I watched a little movie called I Trapped the Devil. I absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, we got to talk about this on the pod. Josh wrote and directed that movie. He heard it, reached out to us, and we have formed a really beautiful friendship over these last couple years. Alex is actually helping him produce movies now. Real movies, not like my movies, real movies. And it's exciting and wonderful. Josh has an absolute infinite amount of love for cinema, and as you'll hear, terrible cinema, which I do, despite teasing. I respect. I love that about him, man. He's a true champion of the art form. He lives and breathes movies in a way that most people you meet just don't. And I think he's a wonderful man. I would give him a hug, an audio hug right here. You guys should go support his movie, I Trapped the Devil. You should make sure to follow him online so you can see the new movies they're making coming out. I've read some of the scripts. They're pretty awesome. But more than anything, today we're talking about Cuckoo. Josh always brings an interesting choice to the pod. Cuckoo is, if nothing else, 100% interesting, right? This is one of the most bizarre, incredible horror movie rides we've gotten this year. So without further ado, Cuckoo with Josh Lobo. Everybody, welcome back. Our dear friend Josh Lobo. What's up, dude? Would you like to introduce the movie you chose for this October Mega Marathon?
All right, so this October Mega Marathon, we're gonna be talking about Tillman Singer's Cuckoo, which
new movie,
new movie, yeah.
It's been just a wildly amazing year for just fucking batshit crazy horror movies.
I like it.
This one definitely stands out. Like in a year of, The Substance and Long Legs and many others, Strange Darling, right? These kind of like hyper stylized weird horror movies. I do think this one takes the cake for the most bizarre. There's a Europeanness to this that makes it so much fucking weirder than all of its other compatriots this year.
I think anything set in the German Alps is gonna flick that meter way up in terms of weirdness.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, it's kind of a fascinating blend of monster movie, sex thriller. It really, like, it's a lot of circles that make a very weird, like, kind of connective Venn diagram.
I gotta ask this. I don't know about, like, no matter what, anytime somebody mentions the Alps or Germany or anything like this when it comes to movies that have nothing to do with Nazis, in the back of my head I'm like, there's Nazis involved. Like, there's a level of Nazism here that I don't think anyone's willing to address. You're just assuming it's there.
Is spreading the superior seeds? Is that what
it's just somewhere in the background there. Like somewhere way in the background over there.
It's a subtle German flavor that's always there. Josh, why Cuckoo, man? When we reached out and you had the entire world of cinema, why Cuckoo?
Oh man, because so I'm in like a unique position with this movie in that I'm like pretty close with the director Tillman, and so I just have had this like I've had this sort of journey, just sort of being Tillman's friends, like watching this movie go from like an idea to a script to a filming to being delayed to coming out, and I think it's just such a strange thing. And it's always been just as strange. So the fact that like this movie like made it through, the nightmares of development intact with just being like the weird thing that it is, I think is just like it's just such an achievement in and of itself. And like,
well, it's a weird original cast. Like the people who are supposed to be in this movie that aren't in this movie, it's fucking bizarre, to be honest with you.
The people who originally cast?
Go through it. Who was the cast that didn't make it? Because Dan Stevens is kind of our only big name star. Hunter Schafer is definitely on the rise.
Yeah, so Hunter Schafer was always attached. So the first original, like when they were going to do this in 2021, when they reported on it, it was John Malkovich, Gemma Chan, and Sophia Boutella were originally the like other leads. So
really, Malkovich was doing the Dan Stevens?
Now, they're not saying who was who, but I'm assuming that's definitely Malkovich. So
unless
that means
Malkovich
Dan Stevens
was the drunk detective.
Does that mean
no? Oh yeah, no. Malkovich was the Stevens role.
Dude, does that mean Dan Stevens is our generation's John Malkovich?
I fucking love Dan Stevens, but there is a small part of me that thinks John Malkovich might have been just the weird kind of thing that would have really clicked in this movie.
I really badly want Dan Stevens to be our generation's John Malkovich. I'm Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens occupies such a strange spot because he's not like an A-list actor, but he's not a character actor. He falls in this real. He's one of those whoever works with him, they have such an amazing taste in projects they pick because he'll do something like this, but then he also does like Abigail, and he just pops up in these very bizarre movies that all seem to have this kind of extra interesting level. So whoever helps him pick his projects. Very, very good eye for what will work best for him. Yeah, he occupies a weird space.
He reminds me of like, and not to say that it's changed, but like Ryan Gosling. There was like a period of time where Ryan Gosling was only
that's a good
shit. Yeah. And I think Dan Stevens is doing that, but in a like a much like I love the things that Gosling. I think Only God Forgives, that Blue Valentine, that era is great. But Gosling's kind of went a little too far, and it just didn't really pan out, and now he's fall guying. But, like, Dan Stevens is sort of picking... Yeah, he's just picking
Stupid
really...
jerk makes all his money. How dare he?
He wants to provide for... I read an interview with Gosling where he was just like, I'm just doing these things because I want to make stuff that make my kids' lives better. And I was like, fuck this guy. I want Only God Forgives too. Come on.
Yeah, your kids are at the playground just swinging a little easier because of Fall Guy. I buy that. That might be the worst performance he's ever given is that interview. That's fucking ridiculous.
They're
That's an outlandishly stupid thing. That's
a weird thing to say.
Ryan Gosling's kids are a huge fan of The Gray Man.
Were they just like, Daddy, that movie was off the hook.
Dad, me no connect with Blue Valentine. Can you be a fucking dick slinging stunt man? Okay, sure. Whatever baby wants. All right, Cuckoo though. Before we just fucking trash Ryan.
I love Ryan.
I have to say, listeners
I love Dan
know
Stevens, though.
I've been very extra sentimental about my dumb brother this year. Tragically lost him, right? One of my favorite stories ever, we were lifting weights at the North Hollywood LA Fitness, right? And my brother was fucking
This is
jacked,
a great story.
like a huge Jersey Shore looking motherfucker. And we're over there benching. My brother's just fucking lifting tons of weight, and he looks, and like, you know, I'm sitting there benching, and he kind of taps me. He's like, look at this fucking Fruit Loop. And I go, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, stop fucking. He just always was looking for some kind of warfare in his life. That's the kind of guy he was. And he looks over, and he's like, look at this fucking Fruit Loop. And I was like, is that Ryan Reynolds? It was kind of right after or right before.
Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling?
Or Ryan Gosling, sorry. A Place Behind the Pines or whatever that fucking movie was.
Place
It was
Beyond the
that
Pines,
era of Ryan Gosling, right? He's trying to be a more serious actor. And he's over there with, you know, some little tiny dumbbells doing lunges. And I was like, what? He's just a guy working out. What's your fucking problem? And he goes, that guy's a fucking disgrace to gyms everywhere. He's like, I can't believe they let men come in here and fucking embarrass themselves. I'm like, dude, shut up. Don't fucking do it. He can't help himself. Ryan finishes his set. He sets his little dumbbells down. My brother walks up behind him and grabs the little dumbbells like this. Like they're like little fucking stinky shoes in a cartoon. He goes, ooh, look at my muscles. Look at how jacked I'm getting. And he's like looking at me like, oh. And then he would go back to the fucking high falsetto. And I'm just sitting on the bench like, Jesus fucking Christ, you gotta be kidding me. And Ryan Gosling's like, yeah, cool, dude. And my brother's like, yeah, it is cool. Ooh. And Ryan Gosling just goes, all right, and just fucking walks out. And I was just like, you fucking absolute jackass. And that's just who my brother was. So somewhere in the back of his mind, Ryan Gosling probably hates the shit out of my brother. He ruined one day of Ryan Gosling's amazing life. But again, enough of Ryan Gosling. Cuckoo. So
Do you ever truly, like, there's times where I sit in bed, I'm like, and I'm just haunted by things from the past. Do you ever think Ryan Gosling is just haunted by your brother?
Absolutely.
that's why
100%.
he's so fucking jacked now.
That's why
my
he's so
brother
jacked
fucking
in Barbie,
fueled him
because
to
there's
get
like,
king
dude,
shit.
that guy
Yeah.
will make
that
me
one gigantic behemoth.
One gigantic dude will haunt my days if I don't get jacked.
Well, my
in
brother
Barbie.
came back and he's like, he really did something. I was like, dude, he's just gonna go fucking cry himself to sleep in the kind of pussy you couldn't even create in a weird science computer. Like, that guy's fine. Yeah, that guy's
he
okay.
went and made Lost River.
Yeah. But yeah, just a bizarre LA fucking story, bro. Yeah, so again, Cuckoo. This is a story that starts with an American family, kind of a broken and re-put together family, coming back to the place of their honeymoon 8 years ago. They're here to design a new resort. They're going to live in this kind of bungalow, whatever, on the site as they develop this new resort. Dan Stevens is kind of the head creep in charge. There's a weird, like, fucking rehab center on the place. And fucking insanity ensues. I will say, this is probably one of my favorite movies in the last couple of years. Again, we are getting to Josh's point. So many incredible movies that you're like, how the fuck did this make it through and keep its idiosyncrasies intact, right? We get a couple of these every year. Like, this year we probably got like 5, 6, 7 amazing movies. You're like, how did a movie this fucking weird survive and not get noted to death? This one might be the king. And I gotta say, I think by far the most interesting thing in this movie is there's just a really deliberate pacing in how they fucking dole out these kind of little bits of world building that help us know something's wrong without ever really getting us all the way to understanding anything that fucking happens in this movie.
It's so interesting, just like knowing Tillman too, like the development process of this movie. I mean, he worked on this for about 4 or 5 years. Yeah. But like, I love Luz. I mean, Luz I think is one of the best. Like, when we signed with Yellow Veil for Trapped, Luz was their only other movie, and I remember they showed it to me to convince me that, you know, they were sort of legit. And someone on their team remarked, they were like, we feel like we found our pie. And I thought the same. I thought that movie was super cool, really, like, well done, really really interesting. Not for everybody. I don't know what your guys' take on it, but like
Yeah, we did an episode on it. I found it really fascinating, but it is just such a small scale movie, and it kind of just it over indexes art house to the point where I think a lot of audiences just won't get it, which is fucking sad 'cause it is a tremendous piece of work.
I just think it was interesting because like going into this, me and Tillman had just sort of talked about like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I think I veer more towards I like things that are more art house. And we had this funny conversation once where I had read the first draft of Cuckoo, and it's obviously much more reformed than it's much more reformed than that first draft. But I remember being like, "What do you want to do?" And he was like, "I want to make a movie for like mainstream audiences."
Yeah.
So what I think about this movie is so interesting is you take a guy who like has like very kind of odd like Eurocentric, Euro trash like art house instincts, and this is him like trying to make like a four quadrant American horror movie, and I think that
Right.
it totally shows, and that it's just this bat shit, but it like has a very familiar three act structure.
Yeah, I mean, structurally, it's very recognizable. And again, this is just a monster movie, right? This
Yeah,
is
that's
closer
it.
to a universal monster movie than, some kind of meandering art house affair.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful part is it's so
Yeah.
fucking bizarre, but it does maintain like this is the kind of movie my mom could not watch Lose. My mom could watch this until probably the ladies just got a handful of fucking lady nut
Yeah.
and be really into it. And you know what? My mom might even suffer the lady nut, right? Her like aversion to sex in movies. This might be okay because it's not a person, whatever, but it's so fucking bizarre and unique and stylized. But I think, again, this is the movie that audiences will find. Like, this is the kind of movie you can see when it comes out is just going to fucking flood TikTok. Like, when more audiences find this is going to be something that people are going to really react to. It's not, the idiosyncrasies aren't as off-putting as a lot of kind of European art house stuff often feels to audiences.
I think that's the biggest advantage of movies that are coming out like this is that they are these like really like I think like Lobo said, these like great four quadrant horror movies, but with this like sheen of European like don't look now 70s horror, 80s horror vibe that people are familiar with but don't have to like you don't have to watch Possession to like get to see Possession that way. Like that's like because I think like Possession for me is always like this great like to me that's like the great modifier of like, hey, are you capable of watching something that like will make no sense to you at all but still be wildly entertained and a little freaked out? And like that's how you split the
right,
crowd
and
a
then
little
the first
bit.
Omen comes on and just makes that a studio film.
Right, exactly.
It just fucking
And
rips off Possession.
But that's exactly like
constantly.
that's exactly what like straight up rips off Possession, and you're like, cool.
Yeah,
Everyone
I
watched
love
the
it,
first
too.
Omen.
It's
That's
really
fucking awesome.
good.
And Cuckoo's got this same great vibe of like, it's weird, but not so weird that it's just going to lose the entire audience. Like it's weird in the way that it needs to. It's a weird in the way that everybody wants to see that kind of weird.
It reminded me very much
really cool.
of what is it? A cure for wellness.
Oh, Cure for Wellness,
Yes.
yeah.
Which is kind of just a weird, my opinion, not great movie. Like it just doesn't earn what it thinks it's supposed to do. And whatever his name is, Dane DeHaan, is just like the most off-putting kind of actor to put in the lead role. I think they've kind of figured that out. Like he should be more in a Giovanni Ribisi area. He's just an off-putting guy. Whereas in this one, you put Hunter Schafer in that spot, and she's just such a fucking empathy machine. Like this is probably, it's got to be this or Demi Moore's my favorite performance of the year. She's
really good.
She
man.
fucking eats in this movie. And again, that and Dan Stevens is the same way. They have this really beautiful kind of sister relation. They just do. Again, it's insane because when you talk about this, like after sitting in a bar, like what the fuck did we just watch? Of course, you'll talk about all the fucking hyper bizarre stuff you just saw.
Yeah.
But really, at the end of the day, it's just a very fucking kind of
It's
standard
really well made.
family
It's a
drama.
really well made monster movie
with a rubber suit monster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what it
I-
really is at its core.
it's so interesting too. Just again, like because like I remember sort of taking it in, and I lived with this thing, just in paper form through all of COVID. So for like 4 years till now, just kind of living with what this thing was. And I remember Tillman's ultra secretive. He does not share anything. I'm the other kind of filmmaker. I'm like the second I have two shots stringing together, I'm like, what do you think? Like, you know, like we would
Yeah.
get done with the
You're the
day, and I would be
filmmaker
like,
that should have been a fucking singer-songwriter, right? You want that instant gratification.
yeah, praise me, please. Yeah, no,
I am exactly the same. I get
I'm
that.
just like, we did good, right? We did good.
Yeah.
We didn't fuck this up. We did good. But Tillman sat on this for so long. And it's like, I read the script and talked to him over and over and over, and was just kind of like, because I remember reading it and just being like, I think this kind of feels like an Argento thing, and I think this kind of feels like Cure for Wellness,
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
he doesn't watch a lot of movies. I don't think. I think. I mean, I think he does, but not. Like there's like film buffs, and then there's not. And I think he falls
He's
into the
not a
other
hyper
camps.
consumer, yeah.
No, no, and I mean I am, but so I would be like, is it kind of like, did you think this? And he's like, I don't even know what that is. Um,
That was
and I
an
think
Orson
obviously,
Welles thing.
yeah,
Orson
Yeah.
Welles
yeah,
was like, you should watch less movies because it keeps your mind more open to creativity instead of just fucking ripping off all the great movies you see. Or vice
yeah.
versa. If you just watch shitty movies all the time, you'll inherently develop their fucking bad taste. Orson Welles,
Man,
universally just a really nice guy.
people are gonna be reevaluating the Crow remake in a couple years, and we'll see
Ugh.
who's on
Oh
top
my
Don't
here.
start
God, are
that.
you doing that?
Don't
film
start that on
Twitter
this
horse
pod.
shit
Not
already?
right now.
No,
Don't start
no.
that here, Lobo.
You know what's a fucking underappreciated, Jim? Halle Berry's Catwoman. No, like
Yeah.
fuck, dude. That Crow remake was that should have been old Yellard from the moment they saw the first daily. Like the moment you
thought-
make the Crow a worse version of Jared Leto's Joker, you fucked up. Like someone should have fucking smothered that thing in the crib immediately.
I saw that movie 3 times in theaters. I just kept going to it.
This is the kind of thing you can do when you don't have kids. You can watch terrible
There's a-
movies over and over
You-
and become their
You can
patron
go see a
saint.
movie over and over again and not worry about it.
It's a Gary Newman needle drop. No, but
For some reason, when you said that, I just imagined Randy Newman singing the Cure song from "We're All Gonna Burn." He's just singing the Cure song "Burn" from The Crow.
but no, I mean,
Anywho.
going back, like I think just like there were so many things. There were so many possibilities of it. So then when I finally saw it, it was like, oh, cool. I feel like I was kind of right. Like this for me, this feels like the closest to like what an Argento movie would actually be like these days. Like people are like an Argento movie, and they just think of the two giallo like red and blue lighting gloves, and it's like that's not actually what those movies were. They were way weirder and this feels similar to an Argento movie, but in a way that's organic. It's never pastiche. Like he's never like riffing on.
Well, I think the thing that I like the most about the performances and then even the script itself is like it is like. I mean, really, this boils down to like a lot of just like Dan Stevens too. Like it is like deceptively funny, and I think that's like a huge,
Insanely funny.
Like that's a huge thing that like I think people miss sometimes about movies like this. Is it's okay to laugh at movies that maybe aren't supposed to be super hilarious. This happened to me a couple of times in the theater. Like there's another reason like going to the theater is hard because sometimes I find things that I think are really entertaining that I think are really funny that other people just would not start laughing. And I'm like, am I the weird one? Because I think this is funny. I think Cuckoo is a great example of like, there's things that are really fucking hilarious in this movie.
Oh,
that
dude, that was
just
me.
work.
I was Robert De Niro in Cape Fear laughing when Dan Stevens brought out the fucking
The
flute.
Dude,
I was just like, this is the
fucking
dumbest
died.
fucking thing I've ever seen in a movie.
It's just the
But I love
perfect
it.
shot too, and you're just like,
Yeah.
what a fucking
Because
dork.
the way he looks, it's so fucking stupid. And I was just like, what
Dude.
the fuck is going on? But in a
It's
good
like
way.
camp. It's like camp.
great.
I mean, but
Yes. Well, to your point, one of the things I hate the most in modern movies is just trying to be weird for weird's sake. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is a level that if you're not somehow invested in the weirdness of it, and you're just like, this will fucking get them. You see that movie a lot, man. This one, to your point, it just feels like it came from a unique and kind of earnest place, even as it is doing just fucking cuckoo shenanigans.
There we go.
I just want to make a quick aside because you were talking about like seeing things with the theater. Did either of you see the remake of of Speak No Evil?
Yeah,
He did.
I really liked it. I thought
it
it was fantastic. I thought it was.
Yes.
I actually liked it more than I liked the original.
how fucking dare you? How
But-
fucking dare you?
There was one other couple in the theater that saw it, and about the time the movie starts to pop off in the third act, we just turned around and they were gone. They just gave up. They just hated it. We're like, we're done.
To your point, our theater was laughing a lot. Like, no one was seriously on the ride of that movie like you were in the first movie. We were just laughing at the kind of comical nature of it, which is like a weird thing, because I knew when you see the American version, you're like, all right, what they're going to do is take away the most important thing, the ending, which kind of thematically ties all this together, and we're going to fucking fist fight our way out. And you're like, all right, it's like the Kenny Powers rewrite. And you're like, I get that. But even those like scenes, right? Like those basic scenes that in Speak No Evil have these like real kind of deep thematic richness. This movie is doing that, but almost like an improv troupe. Like, it is fucking bizarre because they're playing it very straight. But our theater was in stitches, dude. We were laughing our asses off watching that.
If you want to make a movie and you want to change the ending to a "let's fight our way out of here" ending, you can do worse things than get the fucking Eden Lake director to do it.
Yeah, no,
Aside.
Eden Lake. But again, the guy who did Eden Lake should understand. And I'm sure he was given the assignment, right? They're like, we're doing this for Americans, and Americans fucking hate pussy-ass Europeans just fucking getting hit with rocks. And I was like, yeah, I get that. I understand the concept. It's just so fucking, it's so childish. It's such a childish film.
Just a quick segue to the theater, because I think going back to Cuckoo. Yeah, this movie.
I thought we were
think
going to
is
bring up the
really-
crow again. All right, cool, Cuckoo.
No. I mean, we can. I will.
No.
I saw Bryce. Bryce hates everything, and he logged at a 3.5 on Letterboxd. And I was like, yeah, I knew it. Good boy. But
It's a fucking
no,
stealth operation, dude. That's a red flag. You should beware. Anywho.
Cuckoo. Cuckoo, it just operates in this weird level of like, but I mean, Luz does too. I think Luz, as like an American, I guess there's just always some things that are sort of lost in translation, when you're watching a foreign movie, just little things. But I also think that Luz has moments, like, I mean, when the doctor in Luz gets naked and puts on a dress and is like, running around, that like, that's also kind of like high camp in a sort of obscure way. And I think Cuckoo sort of does the same thing, where it's like it is scary, and it's a lot of weird things, man. I mean, just getting to the end of it, I was like, this is like an Argento movie that like becomes like a John Woo movie.
Yeah, it's fucking straight. Because again, I think, if I'm being honest, the movie starts crumbling the further in it gets at times. Like the opening of this slowly unfurling, right? The little, so she has this stepsister, right? Like, it's a reconstructed family. She's calling her mom's answering machine, which pays off in a big way. The sister wants to be her friend, but she doesn't want anything with her. And she just kind of comes in the room and she's playing her bum, 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 her like bass riff or whatever. And her fucking throat starts fluttering. We hear the sound design in this movie is spectacular, right? We hear the cuckoo sound. I will say one of the things that never works in this movie for even a second, which I would like to know why, is the fucking time loop. Like, I think we're completely underselling how fucking insane a power it is to have manifest control over the time stream. And it's just like a thing that's thrown in, and it never thematically feels like it fits.
That was my thing, is like, it happens, and I was like, are we... And again, I was like waiting for it, especially when he spritzes her with pheromones. I was like, oh, is this going to be the payoff for the time loop or some shit? And I'm like, nope, just all right,
she's but an adolescent, right? But like when they're driving a car, if they hit a time loop and they're driving in the Bavarian Alps, they crash that car within 2 seconds. They don't get fucking 8 time loops before they roll the car. That car crashes immediately. And imagine a species, this fucking bygone prehistoric species of women who fucking throw their fucking egg-filled cum in other women. Why would this species have not won if they can fucking control time? You think fucking Neanderthals like were fucking sophisticated enough to be like, I need earwax because I'm getting fucking time looped again for the 8th time. Why do I have 15 fucking kids that all have fucking varicose veins on their cheeks? Like, this is a fucking insanely stupid thing that this movie just throws in. But again, you forgive it because it feels, it's clearly one of those style over substance choices, right? Like, it's just a fun kind of setting you in an unreality, right? It breaks us out of this kind of real family world and puts it in this weird fluttering throat, amazing sounds thing.
I think that's the thing is I don't have nearly the problem with like not, especially at the end. I was like, oh, I don't really care that whatever this fucking time loop thing was. I don't really give a shit. Like, to like that sort of crumble metaphor. What I like is that the wave, you just sort of ride it. Like I think this is like sort of for me like that's the superpower of the movie is like it's not about sitting there and dissecting and like doing that thing you have to do in like M. Night Shyamalan movies. Like, oh yeah, that one thing that I was supposed to remember, I'm now remembering again. Like this is really about
maybe
like
old Shyamalan movies.
Okay,
Shyamalan put out this year literally the dumbest fucking movie ever made in Trap. It's a movie where every single moment and decision you're like, that cannot be a thing that exists, but it's so fun you forgive it.
What I like is that you just get to kind of ride this wave.
Yeah.
And really be like, again, the storytelling is so crisp. And for it being a like weird movie, quote unquote, again, it does a lot of conventional things that work really well, but the weirdness contained within the like the 4-wall structure of this movie works so well. You kind of just anything that would like not work or maybe is a miss, you just sort of forgive. You don't care. Like you're just having a great time.
I approach it of just like, you know, if I'm watching Sicario and Emily Blunt starts fucking rewinding time, I'm gonna start to question, you know, the creative choices of the movie. But like, but like, you know,
that's the one where you're like, why are you doing that in this movie?
Yeah. But this one, you know, there's like Giallo killer bald bird ladies like running around in the woods. You know what I mean? Like people are like gunning at each other. Like there is some sort of cult. Like and it's a very subtle thing where they're just like when at the end and they're in their hospital, like everyone's doing some weird like signage and there's like they're mentioning and it's like, oh, this is like a movement. It's like there's just it's like a fucking gonzo ass movie that just like
that fucking the bird girl is like probably my favorite. Like that is like one of my favorite. Like the one with the sunglasses. That's one of my favorite monsters in a movie ever. By the way, like it's such an easy costume and such a great costume that you're like, damn, dude, that fucking throws.
Well, she looks like a lost
that is going in hard.
She looks like fucking. She's dressed like Hitler's wife. You know, like what the fuck kind of
she looks like she got
are these cuckoos wearing.
Well, she looks like she got booted from Bonnaroo, and you're like, oh, well, she was never allowed to be there in the first place. Like, there's like the really specific
it's the
thing.
Ava Braun going out for a walk outfit, dude.
She looked like she got kicked out of the Coachella techno tent.
For me, it was always just like pure. It's just like pure giallo, like just pure bizarre giallo. I think it's amazing, and I think Tillman is so talented at like creating these like little moments where like, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the movie that is sort of it's not conventional, but like, you know, it's a detective story. Oh, it's an angsty teen movie. Oh, it's you know, they're doing this, but there's just like little creative flourishes. My favorite thing in the entire movie, and after I saw it the first time, I just kept thinking about it, is when the detective is going to shoot the lady and he puts the gun in the pillow. And there's two shots. And they're like Tillmanism. Yes, Yes. When he cuts it open and he runs, he kind of like quickly runs on the outside of the house and all the feathers are flying out is awesome. And then when he shoots it and the pillow lights on fire and he just continues running after it. It's just like it's so
I, I love that.
interesting. It's so weird and just like unique and it just gives it this weird ass flavor. And the whole thing, yeah, it's just like if you try I mean, I watched this with like my in-laws about a week ago and I think that again I've lived with this for so long that like its weirdness has like totally worn off on me. I'm just like, oh yeah, it's cuckoo. But like showing it to like two like people in like their kind of like early 50s who are like who like movies but are not like movie people, and just having them get to the end of the movie and being like, huh, yeah, okay. It's like
But again,
it's
that's
like
the fucking secret weapon, though, because I know I don't I don't think it's an insult to say that vast chunks of this movie are just conventional storytelling. And I think that's how you foist greater ideas and bizarreness, right? Is because when they do family scenes like her getting her mom's box, right? And we realize that it's a voicemail she's been talking to. That's a fucking legitimate, like that could be in any fucking Lifetime movie, right? Like a standard holiday Christmas movie. That's just conventional good family storytelling. When the girl calls with her fucking computer voice and is like, please call her back. It really makes her sad and you're welcome here anytime. Like, those are conventional family fucking drama beats, right? The fucking goofball detective who like lost his wife, whatever. Those are normal conventional beats that when we get to riding a bike in streetlights and seeing a fucking lady in, you know, fucking flats and a, you know, peeper, a flasher fucking trench coat, you're like, all right, I am cool with this. And again, the film is told so fucking well when it does the basics of storytelling, right? And it gives us those conventional things to play on our feet. You feel more invested in the movie and the filmmaker to let him do those fucking bizarre moments, right? Like something like the time loop or the flute.
How often do we
don't
get these
really work?
But how often do we get these movies where, like we were saying earlier, like it is just weird for weird's sake, and you're just trying to like not even freak out your audience, but just like get away with something. Get away with there's a more brutal way to put it, but like get away with bad storytelling just because you want to be, just because it's weird, so you get away with it.
Yeah.
But like, okay, I'm gonna get away with eschewing a good storytelling beat because I want to be weird rather than just tell a good story. Like I think this is what's interesting about the movie going and movie watching audience of 2024, and especially this year. I don't know what's going on. Something's in the water. Maybe
we're these kind of movies. Yeah.
Maybe we're all just like anticipating like the world's end at the end of this year or some shit. But like, it's like a weirdly poignant movie watching audience who's like not forgiving shitty storytelling now. In a way that is like, not like, oh, I won't watch a movie, but more like, oh, that's not what everyone thought it was. That's not as good as we all thought it was going to be. Like, it's not just this, you know, over my head, I don't care. Like, it's becoming a thing where people are actually watching movies and be like, that wasn't that good because it was just weird, rather than just going, that was weird, so I think it was good. It's like a really
but there are like 6 or 7 amazing horror movies this year that are fucking hyper stylized, hyper bizarre, are still working as those kind of 4-quadrant Hollywood films, and demand that they are not second screen movies. Like, we have so many things now that are passive viewing, right? I just fucking laboriously made it through that Menendez Brothers show. Great fucking moments. That show had 4 episodes worth of just one of the best things I've ever seen on TV, dragged out to 8 or 9 episodes, and it requires you as an audience. It's pretty much telling you when to get on your phone and not pay attention. You cannot watch a movie like Cuckoo and not fucking cave into its power and just watch it. And I think we're getting these kind of bolder movies now. And that's the thing. Now it might be this kind of new bar that we're setting, where if you make a movie nowadays, especially these kind of smaller in-between size movies, you have to fucking make something that demands an audience's attention in a way we've never had to before.
I think one of my I just rewatched Long Legs, and it's like Long Legs. Watching Long Legs, I mean, Long Legs had, I would argue, one of the greatest marketing campaigns for an indie movie.
Oh yeah,
I mean, just
by
like
far.
just yeah, it's the fact that that movie did what it did is incredible for as just a filmmaker. It's huge for us, like
Yeah.
amazing. The movie is very well made. Um, I wanted to love it, didn't love it, and then watched it a second time and loved it less. And I think I loved it less just because it's like I don't. Um, Tone poems are cool. I made a tone poem. I contributed to that trend. I am now
Yours is not
years.
like that. Tone poem
No, but
is like
are you
double
kidding me?
speak cunt for bad movie.
Trapped, nothing happens. So
I know,
I'm
but it
comfortable.
has a fucking chartable story. This story is about a girl who fucking has an occultist who lives in her fucking basement, and no one in the FBI does background checks. Like, no one in the FBI is like,
Yeah.
hey, you have a fucking Polaroid of this guy? We should look further. Nope, that's cool. We'll put you in a room alone with him so he can fucking sing the Marilyn Monroe song and bash his face in. Because we also don't believe in restraint. There's stupidity at every turn in that movie that upends what they're doing. And Cuckoo doesn't do that. It has a perfectly concise and relatable story at its core, which lets it fucking springboard higher.
Yes. Yes. I mean, yes. I had two things there. One, the tone poem thing. It's like I'm really tired of, and it just became kind of an indie movie thing. And I know people always kind of flack on A24. It's not their house style. I think they just made a couple movies like that. But this movie that's just, it doesn't ever get above a 6 on the excitement or fun scale. It just kind of rides this, is really boring. Where Cuckoo, it has like, I like, a couple years ago we saw Eternals, which is like probably my favorite Marvel movie in a while, just because like I like that the movie allowed itself to be bad. It's like there's moments in that movie that are really cool, and there's moments in that movie that are really bad. And
it's the
I like
greatest
movies...
napping movie of my life. Eternals is
But,
fucking liquid dog shit.
No,
What was
anyway.
one good thing in Eternals except for all of the cast is people you really like in the worst, most fucking flat, generic that thinks it's a good movie Marvel movie. The costumes fucking suck. The powers fucking suck. The bad guy.
I made a letterbox
sucks.
list of movies that I like that everyone else seems to hate, and I've just been like adding things to it.
I don't think it's everyone. I think me and you feel like we are diametrically opposed on so many movies. We have a huge swath of movies that we both really love, but there are these weird things where sometimes you just say something like The Crow and the Eternals work, and I was like, I feel like Josh comes on here with bits prepared to get me riled up and say phrases like liquid dog shit. It feels like you're baiting the hook a little bit. You're chumming the waters.
I saw The Crow 3 times in theaters and didn't log 2 of them on Letterboxd because I was ashamed.
Yeah, you're fucking ashamed.
Yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
You
there
know.
It is right there.
I don't want to let my Letterboxd followers down. But no, it's like this movie, Cuckoo, it's like an art house movie, but it has a pulse. It gets exciting. It gets, it slows down. It moves above like a 5. And it also, I think what you said, it has a very emotional, whether it works for you or not, or whomever, that's up to the person. But like, it definitely, it has a very clear, like, emotional through line.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I can chart that, you can throw as much weird shit at me as possible,
I think
as long as I could tell you where it is emotionally.
You can make a weird fucking movie all you want as long as it is paced correctly, and you're not going to lose your audience on some nonsense. Like, for the most part, again, like, I think that there's a world where a movie like Cuckoo spends way too much time doing one thing, and you're like, when's this over? When's the next act start, guys? Like, like that's a version of this movie, and like this is paced so impeccably.
We saw that movie this year. It's The Watchers, that M. Night Shyamalan's Daughters movie, which is also one of the most unbearable things I've ever sat through in a theater. That's kind of the nightmare version of this movie where it's like, let's over-explain everything. And when it's revealed, you're like, that's the movie I've been watching? What the fuck? This one doesn't really, again, like I said, to the point of the fucking time loops and how did he fucking find this ocarina to control these time monsters? It's just like who fucking cares? We have a basic idea that he wants to conserve these creatures. He's infatuated with them. They have some kind of mating ground and supernatural powers. Cool, that's enough. But when I'm in that hospital bed with Hunter Schafer's character, And I'm watching her dad be like, you are fucking everything up. I get that you're sad, but I got grown-up shit going on. Our other kid's having a stroke, and I'm going to leave you and go over there because you're fucking being a bastard. But he also must realize the pain she's in. Like, those family moments, and again, cannot understate enough how Gretchen just fucking carries this Herculean fucking performance of the movie that makes it all okay to watch. Even that ending, right, when she fucking runs through this kind of doofy gunfight, and she's just talking.
The sign language was
like that scene at the end is fucking gorgeous, and you're just like, that's what I care about. I don't care that these two fucking dipshits are shooting at each other, that there's monsters, whatever, right? Like, that works, and that's what this movie does. That a lot of these kind of films forget that you have to tell that story. Right? I'm all for it. I'll go on the weirdest journey you've ever conceived with you. And I'll love it. I'm that audience. But I do just believe that if you're asking me for money in 2 hours of my time, you should do the basic work of telling me a fucking narrative. Right? I'm not watching your fucking effects reel, your editing reel. Like, I want a fucking story that works.
Even just like an emotional narrative. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I want a fucking chartable thing that I can empathize with and feel things as I watch the movie.
Longlegs, and I think the reason to compare Longlegs and Cuckoo, it's like Neon's last two movies. Longlegs, I don't know what any of the and the thing is, I think Longlegs is like almost an indie masterpiece until the halfway point. Halfway through, I was like, this fucking movie, if they nail the ending, this movie is going to be like an all-timer. And then it doesn't, and like the ending is so bizarre and random and just kind of like thrown at you, and it's not built up in any way, that I'm kind of just like, I have absolutely no idea. And the ending itself, just the final scene, I have absolutely no idea what this is supposed to mean. I don't know emotionally what is going on here. It's just kind of Cuckoo. It's just very simple. Like it's very simple. So you can throw weird giallo ladies and, you know, time loops and gunfights with Dan Stevens doing a thing, you know, at me, and it's like, I'll take all of that if I can just understand where you are, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 100%. Longlegs is to me what The Crow has been for you, where I never liked it, and I just keep watching it because there's something about that movie, I want to love it so much. I'm also
I love The Crow.
I'm the one.
The Crow.
I know
that's
I feel like you hate The Crow, but you're trying to craft your like, I was there first. You're the Christopher Columbus of The Crow, right?
Did you see it?
What?
Did you see it?
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. It's unwatchable filth. I was fucking depressed. Whoever the girl 90s. With no eyebrows is, Twig, she can't fucking act a beat. Skarsgård is totally wasted and miscast. It felt like a Ghost Rider Part 3 that we never wanted. It's so bad. But neither here nor there. Fight. No, it's fine. It's fine. We don't have to fight, dude. We don't have to fight. We can trade seeds like gentlemen in Germany. No, but I keep watching Longlegs because there's something in there I want to love, and I just can't find it. And I'm the guy who is like, when Nicolas Cage pops in, you're like, I actually love what he's doing. Everyone else I watched it with is like, yeah, he kind of ruins the movie by being a Looney Tune that's not part of the story. And I was like, but where's the root of the story that he's supposed to fit in with? You know what I mean? Like, it's okay that he's bizarre. Nothing in this movie makes any fucking sense. And I keep watching it trying to find the thing that I can like. Cuckoo just immediately works. And it's, again, I think you said it, Alex. It's so fucking crisp, right? Like the little shitty her band song is just kind of tonally perfect. The fucking creepy sound of the cuckoos. The scene when the adolescent comes into the pool and he's already got the fucking bed, and it's just like everything stylistically is so
everything
fucking tight.
Works.
Yeah.
It just works, and everything is attended to in a way that is so specific that just again, it's one of those things where like it's just like watching things lock into place, and just again, if you miss one, it's fine. Like everything else locked. Like it was really good. Like again, it just hits all the notes. Like it hits all my high notes for me personally.
Are you guys? I mean, are you guys Argento people?
Mhm.
Like, are you?
Yeah,
Yeah, it just
of course.
it would make like an amazing double feature with Phenomena.
That's a good
Yeah,
one. That's the
I buy that.
Locust
Yeah.
Jennifer Connelly one.
Yeah, with the monkey with the
Yeah, yeah. No,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean
yeah, I'm down.
that's the vibe though. It's one of those. It feels the Europeanness gives it a, to your point, Josh. Like there is just a cultural disconnect that fucking I feel like is good because it sets a reality that you just assume you already are gonna miss some things. And when they fill those fucking cracks right, they mortar in just the fucking weirdest shit you've ever seen. You're
It
like,
it feels
yeah,
like
yeah, I get that.
I it feels like people riffing like and again, this is sort of, but it's like a German guy trying to make an American movie, like a German, like what is his like perception of what an American movie is?
Yeah,
Which like I always feel like as an American guy, I'm always like trying to make like, you know, a French movie and then I end up with some weird thing. I'm like, what is this? Or like, I mean, dude, like, I mean, I love Silent Hill. I'm obsessed with it, and it's just like that was those guys, just like that was like some weird Japanese guys like trying to make Twin Peaks. They're like, we want to make Twin Peaks, and
yeah.
then getting whatever the fuck Silent Hill is. So it's like it's just
That's a
like
crossover I'd watch.
yeah, but it's just like when people from different cultures are like influenced and like in love with like other culture shit, and then just like trying to do that, then you get like really odd, idiosyncratic things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's again, I just
It's just great.
yeah, it's wonder. Let's talk about the monster, the fucking ladybird, the hooded woman. I think is what she's credited
Semen
as.
Oh my
lady.
god, so good.
Yeah, semen lady. Yeah, that lady's got fucking huge bust. Like she fucking is dropping loads, dude. She's coming quartz constantly. Like I was like, you can just work that up. Like, is that just stored up in there like a fucking water balloon that you can biologically pop? Like, that's a fucking handful, brother. That's a big fucking bust.
You want to talk about you want to start getting into weird territory though. The fact is that like the young one also does that.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like, what is the
Hmm.
German age of consent for cryptids? I don't know. Because she walks in like my dad's pajamas and immediately just has a handful of fucking goo. Like,
This reminds me.
God
Okay, this
damn.
reminds me of as a joke from the show Archer. It's like, oh yes, with Germany, the age of consent is 13. He goes, what is it? The Alabama of Europe? There you go.
Yeah, it is.
That's why they're in the
weird.
Alps, man.
Oh, because that's what it feels too like. Dan Stevens and his crew, like they would definitely. This is something I'm just on record as. If there's any like humanoid but not human creature, I would definitely have sex with it. Just because that's the nature of man. We must explore and conquer. You know, not like a rhinoceros, but like
it's that Nazi thing way in the background. You're just like it's somewhere right back there. Weird experimentation all leads back to Nazism.
You think that's it? That's it? No, but
Listen,
it feels
it
like they're
takes
taking
place in the
liberties.
German
it
Alps,
feels like
okay? It's
more
there.
than just cuckoo seed has been spilled in that pool. It's
I'm
very
not saying
fucking
I'm
bizarre.
not saying Tillman is a Nazi. I'm saying it's an easy thing. It's a great
Damn,
thing to
dude.
do. What I'm saying is it's a great thing to do in a movie is to set it in the German Alps because you know it's there. Like it's just like a fart in the air. You're like, Nazis.
I wonder if this is just every German person's nightmare. Is every time we talk about their masterful work, we're just like, there is that like faint whiff of Nazis, and they're like, where? What are you talking about?
Not on the people making the movie, but definitely in the characters, like the guy who holds women hostage, basically, or humanoid women hostage. Yes, absolutely.
Well, he kind of works with them.
Well, I mean, it's like the United States is just always like it's always
Yeah,
slavery.
same thing.
It just will always.
We're always
be
slavery and racism.
We're all reduced
It's
to
your
our
no-
worst
it's-
moments internationally.
It's your north star of like terribleness. Like
Yeah.
Americans, slavery,
Yeah.
Germany, Nazis.
I live in Wyoming.
So you got both. It's fine. Oh, there you go.
That's true.
Yeah, do you know how hard it
Indiana
to
is
live?
the birthplace of the Klan. I don't know why I just said that. Like it's like, hey, we did something. I'm just saying every
Is that a
place
cool
has its
thing?
bad thing. No, it's not. No, it is not. I'm just saying everywhere has its bad shit.
You know how hard it is being a filmmaker that wears skinny jeans in Wyoming. It's not a grade.
I have
It's not a grade.
I have absolutely no. You'll not get no sympathy from me, my man.
What? Yeah. What is this
Yeah.
strange European word, skinny? I'm not familiar
Skinny.
with the phrase.
You thins over there.
If
huh?
I tried to put on skinny jeans, I think they would bust like the fucking hooded women in this movie. They would just fucking immediately explode. I did wonder, they never really showed how they get it in there. I was like, is this like a fucking disc golf scenario? Or is it a
I
fisting
thought I thought it
scenario?
was a. I thought that scene where she's like about to inseminate, there was like a
Yeah.
handoff thing.
It feels like the most
I feel-
effective
She
way
takes-
would be, you know, like how the ships dock in
Like
Event
she-
Horizon? That's
Yeah,
how
like
they
she's
should do it.
taking. Oh no.
They
That's
should go
I'm
fucking
saying
lips
she
to lips
takes.
and-
She takes her everlasting gobstopper and she's like trying to like just hand it off.
Yeah, I feel like
I
there's some
for
kind
sure-
of like you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. I think there's got to be a better delivery system. That's why
I think
Cuckoo's
it's- I
went
think-
extinct.
I think it's the age, I think it's the tried and true delivery system. You just throw it up into your hand and then.
I don't know. I made 2 kids. There's better ways to do it.
Tried and true. I don't think that's the tried and true
No, what
delivery
is she
system.
fucking Nolan Ryan? She's just throwing heat right down the middle. Like what the fuck? Yeah.
I don't have kids.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm doing
Like
this.
that fucking
Apparently I'm
video of the
doing this
LARPers. Two magic.
Apparently, this is also something you never learned in Wyoming.
This is the thing. I'm just saying, if we're doing fucking insane time loops, you gotta tell me how they fucking share the seats. You gotta
we
fucking
start talk-
share this.
It was like the Costco guys.
Oh God, yes.
I was thinking about the Costco guys and making. I was like AJ and Big Justice. It was just AJ making Big Justice by way of cuckoo insemination.
That would be a perfect explanation for those monsters. Of course, we do chocolate chunks. It's like,
That's
no,
why-
something's off. I don't like
That's
these
why I haven't-
people.
That's why I've made almost no movies in the last few years because that's where my creativity
those
is
guys?
going.
Yeah.
No, that's where my
We're-
creativity
We're
is.
being drained by the fucking Costco guys. The Europeans are fucking walled off from that.
I sit down to screenwrite and I'm just like, what if AJ inseminated a woman? Big Justice.
Big Justice, yeah.
That's there's all.
Maybe
my,
you're ahead of it. Maybe that's the next curve, dude. Just making fucking one movie that's really just fucking 120 TikToks stitched together. And that's how people will watch it. It'll be like Strange Darling. Everything's out of order, but it'll work algorithmically.
It wasn't TikTok. It was whatever. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was TikTok. A couple years. I had a coworker who was just like talking to me. That came into work and was like talking to me about 12 Angry Men. I was just like, "You ever heard of this movie?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty good." She's like, "Don't spoil it." I'm like, "What do you mean? It's a fucking movie." Like, she's like, "No." I'm like, I'm like watching it in
It's right
like
in the
2-minute bits on TikTok. They're like literally watch. She would like watch like 2 minutes at a time, and I was like, "Damn! If only you were doing this when Quibi was around, they would probably still
Yeah,
be
right.
around."
They'd fucking love him. Wait, but like,
That's the fucking wildest thing I've ever heard.
also
That's
that's
what
like
they-
the weirdest. That's the weirdest movie to watch on TikTok. 12. Like, spoiler alert: there are 12 of them. They're quite angry. The end.
That's probably good
Like-
for the algorithm. Angry whites, here you go. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the TikTok thing, dude.
People are like the youth hate cinema, but really they just want to watch it in like 1 minute bursts on their phone between like.
I'm telling you, this is why I think like a lot of modern filmmakers are missing the thread where they're like, you know what we're gonna do? Go back to insanely indulgent, boring as fuck 3+ hour movies, and it's like, dude, read the room. Read the room. The war is done. Not that you have to make TikToks, but the war
At best
is fucking
90
done.
minutes.
90 minutes is the golden standard, guys. That's what you got to do.
David
Anywho,
Fincher knew it when The Killer was an hour and 45 minutes long.
that's what I'm saying, dude.
There you go,
All right,
Fincher
so
knew.
final love letter to Cuckoo before we get out of here.
Well, my boy Simon's score.
Oh my
Best.
god, dude! Yeah, the sound,
you-
the sound design, and the score in this movie is fucking perfection.
You said it earlier. It's like, the Gretchen song is a banger, and I've just been listening to it for a long time, or at least like the last couple months. And yeah, it's. I mean, it's something that the thing. What I hate in movies is like when there's like a band and they have a song and the song sucks and it feels like it's just not like a real song, you know? And this feels like it feels like, yeah, that's like a cool pop band song. It's not.
Yeah, it's almost like a
Yeah.
throwback, like new wave kind of thing, which is popular now. Like synth wave, I think is what they call it.
I don't even know if he's done this, but it's like
fucking
if
cool.
Kevin Smith made a movie about like a band, you know the song in the movie would suck.
You didn't like Berserker? Would you like some
dare you.
making fuck Berserker?
No, but I know like this is like this is important though. Like I agree. Like it's hard to make movies about art. Any kind of like subjective notion of art, like movie making, like the mechanics of movie making, everyone sort of has to do a lot of the same stuff. So it's easier to do things about the actual movie. But like, for instance, there's this show coming out on HBO called The Franchise about like making a huge shitty superhero movie.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the basic
Like the
mechanics
Eternals.
of movie.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the basic mechanics though of filmmaking. It's hard to make a movie though about something so subjective like music. Like music generally, like there's probably like 3 songs we all can agree like don't suck. And otherwise like, you know, otherwise you're stuck with like the Boyhood soundtrack, which a lot of those songs are like, wow, I'm not listening to any of that stuff now. But like I did because I was that age, but now I won't. Like there's just nostalgia and then there's good music. And good
Outside
music's
by
so
Moby.
subjective. You can't make that stuff.
That Thing You Do.
That Thing You Do by the Oneaters.
Yeah, the Oneaters probably are the kings of fucking fake music. That might be the number one banger.
Number one.
That's a great
number one
completely
record.
separate fucking debate and argument. Scotty doesn't know.
Yep.
U2.
Which is
Anything-
actually a
something
real
by
song
U2.
from a band.
You too. They're not a
Yeah.
fictional band. We need a fictional band.
Yeah, I'm talking about a fictional band.
The entire Josie and the Pussycat soundtrack, fucking banger after
Yep.
Scott
banger
Pilgrim.
after banger. Scott
Scott
Pilgrim,
Pilgrim now.
amazing.
Sex Bomb, yep, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. There are
you
movies
too.
that do it. Yeah,
They're not real.
a lot of us wish they weren't.
They're only around to just like advertise Apple products.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an extra kind of evil when Apple's just like, here's a fucking U2 album on your iPhone you can't get rid of. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Did we all really like the Joshua Tree that much we have to suffer these indignities? Like, what the fuck? Fuck you, Bono.
Sorry, I wasn't a huge how to dismantle an atomic bomb guy.
I feel
Can
like
we please move
U2
on?
was like the kind of predecessor of like the cunts that became Dave Matthews fans. Like, I feel like evolutionarily they were there, and then they fucking morphed into this hideous fucking non-deodoranted mass that is Dave Matthews fans now. Neither here
People
nor
don't
there.
hate U2. People don't hate U2 enough. Their hate went to Nickelback, who's actually like a pretty solid band.
Yeah, they're just making fucking dumb guy rock. Who
Which
cares?
is, by the way, a really great documentary on Netflix if you ever have the time about
I
why
like
people
that
hate
too.
Nickelback.
That was pretty fun.
It was a really good
There is a bit where
documentary.
Chad Kroger is like doing the like tortured artist thing, and I was like,
Like,
dude, we
come on,
literally go through in the documentary your songs about just stuff and puss. Stop pretending like it's hard to be an artist. Like, come on, dude. You fucking hit the jackpot. And don't be mad when people swing at the pinata.
man. Come on.
People
Have
in the
you
mid-
listened
people
to
in the-
Photograph? Come on.
Now, this is what that documentary says, though, is there's nothing better in the world than being in the band Nickelback and not being the ramen noodle-haired lead singer. Because they're like, dude, we can go anywhere. Literally no one
Yeah,
on
it's
earth
great.
knows who we
I
are, and we
fucking
just
love
get Nickelback money. That's like being a fucking backup quarterback in the NFL. They're just dream jobs. They
I
have.
remember being in high school and buying their CD and just listening to it a lot. And then it was like, no, this is great. This is neither here nor there. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. See, Nickelback deserves the relook, unlike The Crow. Like, that, they are unfairly maligned.
But
Well-
if you need to rewatch a movie this year, Cuckoo should be it because it's awesome.
Yeah, why would you watch The Crow even once when Cuckoo exists? Do
Yeah.
yourselves a
Well-
favor and fucking watch Cuckoo. It is hard. I have it in my top 5 of the year. I think the substance kind of came and just fucking curb stomped this movie for me. I really like Challengers, which I was not expecting. This
People on
one
planes
is
really like
right there in
Challengers.
that top cluster, though. Like, on a given day, I feel like The Substance and Challengers are the 2 movies I can't move. Any other given day, this is a top 3 to 5 movie of the year. It's so fucking unique and weird and just, It's just one of those movies where it feels like they make all the right choices, even when the choices don't feel like what you want. Excellent, excellent fucking movie, man.
I just don't know if you could like. I don't like Longlegs. Even the odd, and not to dog on Longlegs, but like just like putting that movie on, you have some kind of like preconceived notion, just like kind of knowing what it is. You have some kind of preconceived notion about what it's going to be, and it does tick a lot of those boxes. I don't think you could tell somebody like I don't think anyone could ever anticipate what Cuckoo is in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's just like makes it worthy in and of itself. Just like like,
try to write a one
it.
sentence elevator pitch for this movie and get back to me.
It's about as weird as it's about as weird as it's about as weird as hiring an Oscar-winning director about a lady who poops in buckets to shoot a Marvel movie. So weird things.
I feel like
have
we've
happened.
kind of stealth snuck in some secret other pod. This is our many Eternals pods, our many Long Legs pods. Don't even worry about listening to our Long Legs episode. We got it all here.
I did love Cuckoo. That was a fucking blast.
Cuckoo is a fucking incredible movie. All right, that's it. Josh, you want to tell the people where they can find you, what you're working on?
We're working on some movies. Maybe they'll be done before I die.
See,
tell everybody what's coming
Chad
up.
Kroger,
At least
that's
the
how
one.
you do the fucking
At least the
yearning
one,
artist.
Lobo. Come on. At least the one we worked on. Come on.
Well, I don't know if the agents would agree with that.
Well, just to be fair, yeah, Alex produced.
I helped
the
produce.
movie,
I
yeah.
was
Alex-
one of like
Alex,
Yeah.
I haven't been on the podcast since we made another movie. Yeah, man. So me and Alex and fuck you, Griffey. We made a.
Sorry, I'll write you some pappy crap about dudes with bad tattoos.
6 months from now, I'm gonna join and be like, me and Griffey made a movie. Fuck you, Alex.
That's fine.
I
deserve that.
We made a sci-fi movie that I do intend on finishing in the upcoming future.
Yeah, someday I'll be on a podcast talking about that movie and be like, I remember getting the script. I sat with it for years.
This movie fucking sucks.
I'll be like, this guy fucking loves the Eternals, and someone greenlit a movie from it? No, I'm just kidding.
Did this piece of shit put a Gary Newman needle drop in here? I did think about that.
Yeah.
I got out of the crow and was like, fuck, I need a needle drop Gary Newman until we looked into how much it would cost.
Jesus Christ.
It's too much. So
Randy Newman's right there, dude. He's the one. All right, dude. You guys know the deal. 31 days, 31 pods. We'll see you tomorrow with another exciting horror movie.